Okay, so I didn't think this would ever be possible, right? I didn't think anybody on planet Earth could be quite this stupid. But apparently, Detroit Record doesn't know what day comes before Wednesday. See, he's got this video out where he's trying to say he's somebody's boss while he's polishing headlights. And he makes it a point to talk about how he's making a video on a random Tuesday. And he claims that he can do that because he's claiming that he's somebody's boss. Now, as somebody who's been a business owner, I know that when you're on schedule, like perfectly on schedule, exactly on time for things, you consider yourself to be behind schedule. When you are a day behind, you consider yourself to be 3 days behind. And if you are 3 days ahead of schedule, you consider yourself to be right on time. The idea, of course, is always that you want to stay ahead so that you have a little bit of flexibility with your time. If you fall to be 2 weeks behind, you don't have time to be polishing your fucking headlights. You have to go get your work done. I mean, unless you're like a CEO of a major corporation where you've got dozens of people or hundreds of people or more working underneath of you that can do all that. But even then, your underlings, the executive branches and the managerials and all that bullshit, they will make sure that you are staying with that comfortable buffer zone between when the work is started and when the work is finished. If you fall to a point where you're 2 weeks behind, well, you're too busy to fucking polish your fucking headlights. But irregardless, or I guess it's regardless. Irregardless technically is not a word, even though I use it all the fucking time. But regardless, let's take a look at the video that he's actually referencing in his comment and take a look at the videos that came before. Right here. Okay, everybody. This is Detroit Records channel. This is the video that he's talking about, which is obviously, as you can see, it says right there, Wednesday evening, 10 days ago. Today is Sunday, it's August the 3rd, so this was in fact 10 days ago on a Wednesday. Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, 10 days. So sweet. But as you can see right here, 11 days ago, random video. Here you can also see 11 days ago, 2 videos on a random Tuesday. It just happened to be the random Tuesday when Mr. Ozzy Osbourne passed away, but still a random Tuesday. And like I said, a fucking business owner does not have time to make a video on a random Tuesday. Anybody who has a fucking job doesn't have time to make 2 videos on a random Tuesday. It's just not in the cards for people that have jobs and work. Now, Detroit Record is a special case. He's a special case. He's very delusional, and he lives in his mommy's house. Yeah. Now, there's another thing you should probably take note of about Mr. Recker. Look at the shape of his head. Notice that it's kind of goes in at the sides. This is actually a condition. It's called being a pinhead. You can really take note of this on videos where you see the front of his face and his thing here. Notice sharp angle going up. Sharp angle going up. This one is, his head's at a kind of an angle too, so it makes it a little more pronounced. But anytime you look at the front of his face, sharp angle going up. Now, there's many characters in the world that you've seen that demonstrate this physical distortion or deformation. And they're always portrayed as being the negative character in the thing. Great example, Bert and Ernie. Right? The character Bert has a pinhead shape just like Mr. Wrecker. In fact, Mr. Wrecker has a few videos where he actually has the haircut made famous by Bert of Bert and Ernie. And here you can definitely see the pinhead structure going on right here. See that? That's a pinhead. So understand this, Mr. Wrecker, right? Tuesday is the day before Wednesday. Your video that I made the comment on was made on a Wednesday. But you have 2 videos that came out just the day before that. And you had a video on a Monday. So that means that you made videos on a random Monday, a random Tuesday, and a random Wednesday. Things that people with real jobs just don't have time to do. Now, you're trying to say that I don't have any understanding for anything. You're the one who doesn't even know that Tuesday is the day before Wednesday. Now, you did not make a video on Thursday, and if I had said you were making videos on a random Thursday, well, then I would be a little bit off because that would have been 9 days ago. But you made 2 videos on a random Wednesday. See, 10 days, 10 days. These videos are on the same day. 2 videos on a random Tuesday and 1 on a random Monday. Now, I shouldn't have to explain to you how the calendar works, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then this one, it looks like it was just the other day, 5 days ago. That's a Friday. Seems that any day that people should be working, you've got time to make a video and polish your fucking headlights. Who the fuck polishes their headlights? I mean, the only purpose of doing that is if you're trying to improve the look of the vehicle so that you could sell it. Now, if you're trying to sell your vehicle, that's none of my concern. I really don't care. But understand, this was a Wednesday, the one that I commented on, but this is what I was referring to. These videos from a random Tuesday. Get a fucking job, you low-life degenerate. All right, so it seems that perhaps Detroit Wrecker is the one that is unable to understand and comprehend things. Because, well, like I said, he put out a video on a random Tuesday. He put out a video on a random Wednesday. And he put out a video on a random Thursday. These are things that people who have jobs and work can't do. Now, that's not my fault that he's having this cognitive dissonance about the things that are happening in his life. That is his own doing. Now, he was talking a thing, he did a little talk about, apparently there's a group of people out there that are saying, fuck the boomers. And he's saying that it's the boomers are the reason why this country is as great as it is. And it's like, remember how you're saying, everybody's saying they wanted to make America great again? So this country used to be very great. It used to be the top in the world. But the thing is that in recent history, the rest of the world has been catching up. And they've been surpassing us. Now, the reason we're being surpassed, it's not necessarily the boomers' fault, right? It's not. They they were in a situation, they took advantage of a situation. But, this is the big one, but they're taking advantage of the situation did create a bit of a problem for the upcoming generations. So, people now, they say, fuck the boomers. Well, the reason why they're saying fuck the boomers, because the boomers took everything and left nothing. So, you say, oh, the boomers is the generation after World War II, right? They came home and he says they got a nice Jewish wife with some soft tits and had 5 or 6 kids and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Not going to debate that. But what they did do that they probably shouldn't have done was they didn't leave things for the following generations. So, you look at everything, 1940s, 50s, we had a great deal of prosperity in this country. And, yeah, the prosperity of the 40s and 50s, it was not because America had something great going on that the boomers were doing something great. Boomers were just being born in this generation. It was their parents that were doing work and putting in effort. And that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I ain't even going to fault them. But the boomers, they didn't prepare the world for their children. They didn't leave the world in a better place for their children. Their children, of course, being Gen X. And Gen X, we started coming around towards the late 80s and early 90s. You know, we started coming around, you know, hitting our teens and early adulthood. And we started noticing the problems that were being left by our parents and their generation. And they were the children of the people that came back from World War II. And the reason why during this period we had so much prosperity while the rest of the world was not is because the rest of the world had a world war that had been going on there. Right? World War II decimated most of Europe. So while they were repairing, we were building new things and developing. That's why we got to be so prosperous and as big as we are, right? The boomers, did they really do anything? Not really. They took advantage of the things that the generation before had done. Now, he made a comment saying, you know, that these people, they don't even know what sex they are. And, you know, you're confusing sex and gender because they're not the same thing. Sex is your biological features, you know. Sexually male, sexually female. Those are only 2 options we really have. I mean, there are anomalies where you have, you know, the hermaphrodites, or I don't know what the PC term is for it. But those are your 2 main sexes, and most of the world thinks that it's purely a binary choice, you know. You're either one or the other. But there is that third option, right? The hermaphrodite. It's rare. Very, very rare. But it exists. But gender is a totally different thing. See, gender is a social construct. So there's not really a set gender. Yeah, there's the way we dress, right? I wear jeans and a t-shirt. Wear this hat here. I've adapted a look and I identify as a male. Identify as a man. Whatever. That's how I identify. But there are people out there that they don't identify according to their biological sex. And they've chosen a different gender than what society would have had them have. Again, it's a societal construct. It's not based on anything except for how you identify yourself. And I get it, you know. The world is a wild and crazy place, and people are different. If you were to look at pictures of guys from, let's go to your prided fucking time, 1776, the birth of America, and you look at the people back then, well, the man is wearing a wig, makeup, high-heeled shoes. That is not what you would say a man looks like in 2025. That is, well, what I just described is essentially a woman. Makeup, wig, high-heeled shoes. That's a woman today. But look at that picture of George Washington on the dollar bill. The powdered wig he's wearing. Those nice powdered cheekbones of his. If you would have seen the shoes that he was wearing, you would have noticed he was wearing some fucking high heels. Everything that you associate with being a man outside of the biological, oh, he's got a penis, is just the construct of society. It has absolutely nothing to do with how you're born or how you're raised or anything like that. It's just your choices in life. You say, oh, he doesn't know what sexy is. Well, everybody knows what sex they are. You know that at birth. But your gender is a different thing. Now, I can't say that I fully understand all this new transgender shit. I don't fucking understand it. I don't fucking get it. And because I don't fucking understand it and I don't fucking get it, I don't make judgment calls about it. I can't make that decision. It's not in my understanding to make that decision. And I think that if you're willing to make that judgment without having a fundamental understanding of what it means to be one of those people, well, you're ignorant. You're ignorant, you're being judgmental, you're literally doing everything that you say you stand against. And you made a statement in one of your videos, I can't remember which one, but you're talking about the Democrats back in the 90s is the fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, Rage Against the Machine group. And now all of a sudden you're saying that they're saying just do what you're told. But what exactly are they trying to tell you to do? I mean, because there's not anything that I've seen with the Democratic Party saying you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. What I have seen is the Republican Party saying you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. You can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. You have to follow what we say you have to do. That's the Republican Party. I'm sorry, you have to be a straight white male. That's the only thing that's allowed with the Republican Party. With the Democrats, you can be whatever the fuck you want. Be whoever you want to be. Just don't interfere with other people's rights to be who they want to be. You've got it backwards, bro. Your party is the one that's telling people do what they're told. My party, the Democrats, are saying be who you are. That's it. Be who you are. If you want to be a straight white male, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's your prerogative as a straight white male. But if you're going to try to tell everybody that they have to be a straight white male, you're overstepping your bounds. Now, I don't really have anything else to say, but you should understand you're completely back asswards in everything that you're saying. You know? And for the record, when a band puts out an album, they aren't putting out their best live performance. They go in there individually and record their sections, section by section. And they layer the sections. They do each section multiple times and layer that on top of each other. And they may do section 1 on one day and section 2 on another day and section 3 on a completely different day, and just the producers will put those together to give you the final product. The only time that you're getting the best live performance is when they're doing a live album, and that best live performance isn't the best live performance. It's just that live performance. No album ever in the history of albums has been the best live performance. It's always been section 1, section 2, section 3. At least 3 times of each section. And they have to be so precisely perfect that we can take the first one, the second one, the third one, and layer them all on top of each other, and you can only hear one version. That's the reason you can't ever perfectly copy the sound on the album, even when you know exactly what amplifier they used, exactly what guitar they used, and exactly what effects they used. It's because there's only one of you. And you're only doing it one time. Now, you made up all these excuses about different microphones and different mixing boards. But no. Mixing boards only adjust the level of each channel. They don't have any impact on the tonal aspects and what's going to be heard on the album. Not really. They just adjust the levels. It's like turning the volume up or down on a certain channel. And the fact that you don't understand that while you're trying to tell people that you're recording all these fucking albums for your band that doesn't exist, it's all evidence that you have no fucking clue what the fuck you're talking about. You never have and you never will. Facts. All right. I think I've covered enough of everything that maybe you'll understand it, but probably not. And yeah, the question that I asked you about a month ago, I asked you about why somebody would choose to reduce their bandwidth of their amplifier. And you haven't been able to answer that. And it's because you don't fucking know. Well, I'll tell you. You reduce the bandwidth so you can add more gain, you retarded fucking inbred fucking piece of shit. That's the whole purpose. It's called gain bandwidth product. You can't increase gain without reducing bandwidth. It's impossible. Likewise, you cannot increase bandwidth without reducing gain. The two are interconnected with all amplifiers. Every amplifier in the entire history of the fucking world has got a thing called gain bandwidth product. And your ignorance of that just goes to show how little you know about fucking amplifiers. Peace.